How's it going? Today we're going to take a look at Dragon Lord, or as it was known in some parts, Dragon's Breath. This is quite an interesting game. I've been messing around with it today for quite a bit. It's got some really nice music. We're going to be looking at the Amiga version, which I believe has better music and slightly better graphics than the DOS version. Now, the aim of this game is to locate 3 pieces of an amulet, which sounds easy, but apparently much harder than it sounds. And to do this, we're going to use dragons. No armies, no troops, nothing like that. Just dragons. That's all we've got available to us. And we start with 1 dragon and 20 dragon eggs. Now, there's a game within a game in this game, and that is the spell making. It's quite complex and it's very in-depth. I'm going to cover that at the end. So when you bought the game, it came with a manual, but it came with a second manual, and the second manual was entirely to explain how the spell making worked. And I'm going to show that manual at the end as well. We'll flick through it just to help me explain how the spell making is conducted. And spells can be used throughout the game. In all aspects of the game, you can use spells to help you out. You almost certainly need to use the spells, probably to be successful at the game. Trying to play the game without the spells, I can imagine, very difficult. Thematic lightning here. Right, I'm just going to get on with it. Dragon Lord. Here we go. Now, you could hot seat this back in the day. You could play with 2 friends. We're going to turn them over to the AI. We're going to play as Batchim here, or Batkim. Here we go. And here we are. This is the world map in front of us. And here we can either end a turn or sort of end the month. We can save our game or we can end the game. We don't want to do any of those things. We need to manage everything we want to happen before we end the turn. So we're going to click on our portrait. And here we are. This is our kingdom. And listen to this music. Beautiful music. It kind of reminds me of sort of liminal space music. It's really chilled out. I like it. I like the whole atmosphere of this game. It's interesting. It's if it wasn't for the spell making and how complicated that is, I would probably do a let's play of it. But we'll get to that at the end. Anyway, if we click on the map here, we can look at the world map. This is the world map. And we can see the keeps of our NPCs, our adversaries. We're down here, we're blue. And we've got all these little villages. Now, villages can be raided. Now, you might raid a village because it's owned by one of the AI and you want to reduce the population and the taxes that they're earning from it. Or you can attack and conquer a village. So then the village becomes yours and you can set a tax rate and you earn taxes from it. There's a system where you can keep a dragon at a village, and if you do that, you can set the taxes as high as you like, and you don't have to worry about the villagers revolting and turning against you. Now, if you attack a village that has got another dragon in it, the dragons fight, and if one of those dragons loses too much health, it's going to die, and losing dragons, it's going to happen, but it's pretty painful. The process of getting new dragons takes time and it's expensive, and sometimes you would have put a lot of effort into building up a dragon that's got quite good attributes. So dragons sort of have stats as well. The villages have various different races that live in them. So if we go over here, we can see the people that live in this village are the Old Vale, and we can see the population as well. So to take over a village, I think you have to kill a certain percentage of the population. I'm not sure what that is, and it's not mentioned in the manual. If it is, then I missed it. it might be about half the population. That's not easy to do. So if you want to take over a village at the start of the game, you really want to be looking for a village that has got a low population. Look over here. These villages have probably got different civilization in them. They do. We've got the Fricam living in these villages. Do any of them have a very low population? Well, this one's got 384. That's quite low. We can go out and we'll look at some more. The Ackland live in these villages. Now, these villages can go to war with one another, and we have a way of checking if that's happened. We can look up which villages are fighting one another, and if we successfully raid one of those villages, we will be rewarded by the other village. So there's little mini, not really quests, but we can sort of play in on the politics that's going on between the villages to earn a little bit of cash if we want. Now, I'm not sure what the optimal play is at the start of this game. Is it taking over villages, or should you just be raiding villages? I've already messed around with the game for a couple of hours where I tried to take over villages at the very start of the game, and I'm thinking maybe your dragons just aren't strong enough to do that at the start, and you only have one dragon. So you go out, you raid the village, you might take it over, or you might just damage it, and then you usually have to bring your dragon back to heal him up, because he's taking too much damage, which takes a number of turns, and maybe taking over villages at the start of the game isn't efficient, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, let's try and find one that's quite low on population. I think that 300 back there might be, it's the lowest I've seen anyway, so... Now, villages can be completely destroyed and then they disappear from the map. And as villages develop, their industry level develops, how they can defend how well they defend themselves develops as well, and more villages will crop up over time as well. So more villages will grow. Let's check these three here in front of us. 1400, 800, 400. I think we will try and raid this village down here. Now, because it's got a low population, it may well be a prime target for other dragons to go to as well, so that's something to keep in mind. But if we want to attack a village, we click on the dragon's eye here, and then we click on the village that we want to attack. So we're going to attack this one. And then we can change what sort of attack we want to do. So by clicking this green flag here, we can conquer and keep the village, or we can return after we've attacked it. I'm going to attempt to conquer and keep it. And when we attack a village, we can choose how much effort we want the dragon to put into attacking it. Now, the more effort he puts in, the more people he's going to kill. So sort of the higher percentage of the population you're going to kill. So that might relate to more money being earned, or it might give you a higher chance of taking over the village. However, the longer your dragon is in there putting in effort, the more damage it's going to take. So you risk your dragon dying if you sort of overdo this. And if you hit the training button, you get to control the dragon yourself. And so it's risk reward. It's quite difficult, and you risk your dragon dying, just like the other ways here. But you also have more control. So if you get good at this mini game, then you can essentially attack villages and not lose any health on your dragon. Again, I don't know if this is a smart thing to do at the very start of the game with your first dragon, but I want to show it off anyway, so that's what we're going to do. So we've got this set up now, so we're going to try and kill enough people to take over the village, and we're going to do it ourselves, but it's not going to happen until we end our turn. If we had multiple dragons, we could move through them using these two buttons here, and if we wanted to cancel the attack, we would click this door up here. So we'll come out of there. Right, so how do we get more dragons? Well, we hatch them out of eggs. So at the start of the game, you start with 20 dragon eggs. In the manual, it makes it sound like you get more dragon eggs over time. You can hatch up to 4 eggs at once. So although these eggs down here look like they're your eggs, they're not. They're just different incubators. So we'll select the first incubator. And if we click on the incubator, an egg will appear in it. So if we went and checked our stats in a minute, which I'm going to show you that in a second, it will now say 19 eggs rather than 20, because we've got one being hatched. This hourglass here will tell us how close it is to being hatched, and this here essentially increases or decreases the amount of warmth we're giving the egg. The more we give it, the faster the egg is going to hatch. Now, heating eggs costs gold, so I believe at half speed here, the egg will hatch in, I think, 4 or 5 turns, and it's going to cost us 5 gold each turn. You can speed it up, but it's going to cost you more money each turn. It might be the same amount of money overall, but since you can hatch multiple eggs, you might not have the income to keep up with hatching them really quickly. But also, the manual says the slower you hatch a dragon, the stronger it is once it's been hatched. So we'll do the average. We'll do half, which means it should be hatched in about 4 to 5 turns. Now, you might have noticed this symbol down the bottom here, this sort of crystal ball. This is the magic system, the spell making system. I'm going to cover that at the end. It's like a whole nother thing. So we'll quit out of here. Now let's look at our books. So here we've got our accounts. Once we've ended the turn, the next time we look at the book, it will tell us how much our dragons are costing us and how much the heating of the eggs is costing us. We're only going to be heating 1 egg. And we've got no taxes at the moment, so that's going to remain at 0. So we can see here that we've got 19 eggs left and we've got 109 gelds in the bank. It's also informing us that there's a trader waiting. But it's quite easy to see that because when there's a trader, this door is open. Here he is. He's quite a handsome chap, and he sells us ingredients for the spell making. And I believe different traders sell different ingredients, and it's random, I think, when they arrive and who arrives. I don't know if there's another way of getting ingredients. In the manual, all the ingredients are listed and it gives a description of what they are, where they come from, and what they do. It sounds like almost they exist in the world somewhere, but it doesn't mention anywhere about getting these from the world, so maybe that's just flavor text. I don't know if you can send your dragons out to search for them. You might be able to. The 3 amulet pieces that you need to find, they might be in a village, or they can just be out in the world. You can send your dragons out to sort of just random patches of land to search. So maybe there is a mechanic where the dragons come back with some materials, but I'm not sure. I haven't tested that. Right, we'll come out of here. We're not going to buy anything. There's a couple more books we can look at. So this red one, it tells us what's going on in the world. So we can see that Binop does battle with Lupon. These are sort of villages. So if we went and attacked either Binop or Lupon and we were successful, then the other would give us a cash reward for doing that. And then this purple book here, this gives us our current stocks of the materials that we use in making spells. Although you can also check that on the spell making screen, which is here. But we're going to look at that at the end. Anyway, let's end our turn. And we'll carry out the sort of the fighting minigame. Here we are. So on the Amiga version, I believe you attack with X and you fly with the arrow keys. We've got an agabus. Oh my god, I've forgotten what it's called. An abacus at the top there. The top is our health. So if we get hit by something, we lose a bead. So we can only be hit 6 times before our dragon dies. And the second one down is how much fire we can breathe. And the bottom 2, I'm not sure what those are. Anyway, we're going to get started. Now, when we breathe fire, you can see that it goes down. To hit things close to us, it has to be near the start of the cone of the fire. And if you're trying to destroy objects on the ground, so like launching points for defenses or houses, then it needs to be sort of where the fire ends. So we can hit that there. You saw then that I destroyed the thing on the ground before I destroyed the balloon, because the balloon needed to get closer to us. Now you don't want to get hit by anything. You can speed up your dragon, you can slow it down. We want to destroy... Ooh. Alright, okay, I got hit a couple of times there. You want to destroy the village buildings when you see them. But if you're going too slow, you'll be a sitting duck for those flyers that come in. I think they're really sort of like hand gliders. Think of them as like the villagers on hand gliders coming in to try and attack you. We need to keep an eye out for other village buildings. Now, I don't know if killing the flying creatures affects like the population, the damage you do to the population. Right, let's turn around. Ooh, okay, we just took him out. There we go, we took out another villager building. We'll turn around. This is my third attempt at this mode, and I haven't been able to succeed at it so far. But this isn't going too bad. Now, you can end your attack at any time. So if you think you've done enough damage, you can click with the mouse and it will end, and it will tell you how well you did. So it's difficult to gauge how much damage you've done. Maybe that's part of the abacus there. Maybe we've done enough damage. You don't want to do too much damage, because these are the people that are going to be paying your taxes. There we go, we succeeded. Conquest successful. So we killed quite a few people. They've got a population remaining of 216. Now we might have taken over that village. We'll have to check at the end of the turn. Now this is what the screen you see if you automate the attack. And then we can see there how well they did. These are the AI's dragons. Okay, right. So we click on our portrait here. Click on the map. And we took over that village. So there we go. We're quite successful. This icon here means that our dragon is currently sat in the village, I believe. So if we want to recall him, we can do that. If we want to check on our dragon stats, we can click on the dragon symbol on the main menu here. We've only got one dragon. He's going to be up here. You can see how his name is highlighted when we hover over the door. And then hovering over different parts of the dragon shows us his stats. So we can see he's got no disease. He's not very wise. His eyesight is average. His health is not bad. We can probably leave him out in the village. I don't know what that means, the 1 out of 4. I can't find a reference to that in the manual. But everything else is pretty self-explanatory, like speed and strength. And again, we've got the spell casting symbol down here. You can cast spells on your dragons, on your eggs, on your main character, and on villages. So we'll quit out of here. He's doing all right down there. So if we want, let's set our taxes in the village. Let's go down. Now, they're probably going to be pretty upset, considering we just roasted about a third of the village. But yeah, so they're not necessarily very close to uprising, but they are reasonably close. Now, I think sitting a dragon here slowly helps reduce this over time, although don't quote me on that. We'll set a small amount of tax rate here. And we're going to see how that affects the uprising over the turn. And we'll see how much money it makes us as well. So the uprising bar, it's just about above that little tree that's poking up there. We'll quit out. And if we look at this, I don't think it's going to tell us our taxes yet. No, it's not. Our egg is costing us that. Our dragon's costing us that. And we're not bringing in any money at the moment. So we need to keep that in mind. There we go. The dragon's about a third of the way done. The egg is about a third of the way to being hatched. Let's quit back. We'll end the turn. Now, I'm conscious that I haven't got my dragon doing anything at the moment. That's probably not wise if you're playing this to win, but I'm just doing this video to sort of show off the game. It's another one of those games. It's an interesting concept. There's not many videos on YouTube where there's commentary of somebody playing the video. At least if there is, I couldn't find it. There's a couple of people who've put up sort of world record sort of speed runs of the game. I think those speed runs run into like almost 2 hours long. So if they're speed running the game in 2 hours, casually playing it must take some time. Anyway, let's click on him. Let's check our taxes. Okay, taxes 3. Really not a lot. Let's go and see if they're any closer to uprising. Although our dragon isn't costing anything because it didn't do anything this turn. So he's just sort of sat chilling out in that village, keeping an eye on things. Click on him. And they're not. They're not any closer to uprising. So let's see if we can take the tax burden up to... Let's put it up to there, about a third. Come out of here. Out of here. Are there any interesting events going on in the world? No, the same villages are doing battle. We have another trader back. Is it the same trader? No, we've got a different trader. And she's selling us different things at different prices. Let's end the turn. The dragons are reviewed. So the AI is constantly using their dragons to carry out attacks, and I'm assuming you probably would want to do the same thing as well. Oh, so the AI just attacked us. We defended our claim. And unfortunately, the AI dragon won the duel. So our dragon is probably not dead. It's hurt. But a bunch of our villagers were probably killed. Let's have a look. No, he took over the village entirely. Oh, that's not good. So our dragon probably returned home. And if we check his health, it's quite low. So we probably wouldn't want to use him for anything this turn. We'd let him rest. And then in the book here, we earned 15 gold in taxes. So we could certainly offset the most of our outgoings if we held on to one village. But I don't know how feasible that is at the start of the game to do that. You probably want to be watching where the AI dragons are attacking, looking at how much of the population has been killed off, and then sort of weighing up, is it worth you sending in your dragon to try and take over that village? And if he is going to take it over, can you afford to hold on to it? Things will certainly get a lot easier once you've got more dragons. Now, if it's costing you 5 geld a turn to try and hatch a dragon, which I will continue until this one hatches. I don't know how many turns it's been. It might have been 3 turns already. You're probably not going to be able to afford to hatch 4 dragons at once unless you're doing it very, very slowly. So maybe a good strategy at the start of the game is to raid villages that are at war to make money, rather than taking villages and holding on to them. Anyway, right, let's keep skipping through the turns until our dragon hatches. And I don't know if the AI can find the amulet pieces. They probably can. But how you know if they've got a dragon sitting on one or not, I'm not sure. The amulet pieces exist somewhere on the map physically. So maybe you can look at the map and you'll see that they've got a dragon just constantly sat somewhere. That might indicate that they've located one of the amulet pieces. But let's quickly check how far has it gone. I reckon we need 2 more turns. Yeah. When it hatches, we'll get a little animation of it hatching out of the egg anyway. So we'll just keep skipping through the turns until that happens. That was quite a large town that got attacked there. You've got like an indication of population and their technology on those screens. Let's go again. Oh, you have to do something on your turn, I think. Yeah, we have to go here. Have to look at something. Okay, yeah, the egg's almost done. Then we can come out. So a village has just been destroyed. Our egg must be very close to being hatched. Yep, 1 more turn. So it's cost us quite a bit to hatch this 1 egg, and actually We need to be careful that we haven't run out of money. Here we go. I believe this is our egg. Ooh, multiple eggs are hatching. So this must be some AI. One of the AI's eggs. Maybe neither of those were our eggs. We'll need to check. If we've run out of money, then we'll need to make some money before we can continue. The egg won't hatch if we're out of money. Let's have a look. No, we've still got money. Let's get out of here. Check the egg. Alright. It must be almost hatched. I don't know how many turns this has been. It must be close to 10 now. Pretty sure it'll be this turn. You can see green's already using 2 dragons there. And this is quite a large town. I don't think you can skip these screens either, and I believe we can each have up to 8 dragons, so this part of the game might take a while to complete once everybody's got quite a few dragons. And we need to go again. There's a smidgen left there. I probably should have just cranked up the heat on it. Here we go. I believe this is my egg. If it's my egg, I should be able to name him. There we go. We can name our aim. We can name our name. We can name our dragon. I'm going to name him Dave. Where's V? There it is. And then you just come over here. That last symbol saves the name. And so this is pretty much the game. You hatch dragons. You send them out, you raid villages, you capture villages, you try and hold on to the villages. And you slowly, hopefully, breed stronger dragons. Now, how can we sort of influence the strength of a dragon? Well, we can cast spells on a dragon, or we can cast them on the egg before it's even hatched. And I'm going to get into that now. So let's go and take a look at the spell making. Right, so here we are in our spell making lab or alchemy lab. And there's various different things we can do here. So along the top, we've got various different ingredients that we've currently got in stock. And if we move over each one, we can see that it's got a name. And we can see how many sort of ounces we've got in there. And sort of 1 ounce is 1 use, really. Think of that as how many you've got in stock. And then we've got our various different sort of pieces of apparatus down here that we can manipulate. So we've got a Bunsen burner that we can turn on and turn off. We've got a condenser that we can turn on and turn off. To add an ingredient, we would pick it up and then we would drop it into one of these bowls up here. So this one here is for cutting. This one here is for grinding. This one here is for mixing. And this one here doesn't do anything. It just puts it in as normal. So basically, for a spell to work, it must have at least one ingredient that will act as a director and one that will act as an effector. So a director is an ingredient which specifically targets a specific function within the game. So there will be ingredients that target villages. There will be ingredients that target eggs. There will be ingredients that target dragons or you, the human player. And then you will have the effectors, and those will be the effect you want to apply to that thing. So let's say your dragon's got disease and you want to cure it. So you would use a director that targets dragons, and then you would need an effector that cures disease. But the way it works is there isn't really a cure disease ingredient. There will just be ingredients that affect disease, and some of them will affect it positively, and some of them will affect it negatively. And you will want, if you're trying to get rid of disease, you'll want to affect it negatively. And then there are various different things that you can do to sort of increase the negativity of an ingredient. So, for example, we could find an ingredient that has a negative effect on disease. But when we're looking at it in our spell manual, which I'll show you in a moment, we could see that by turning on the Bunsen burner and heating the ingredient, that would add a second negative to the ingredient, which would mean that it would be even more negative towards disease, which would make it more likely to cure disease. Now, or maybe we need to grind it to make it more potent. Now, all of these charts are shown in, there we go. Now, the spell book is pretty comprehensive. It just goes on and 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 on. And then at the bottom, we've got a whole bunch of different charts that we can use to sort of help us make potions. Now, it looks complicated, but I think once you get your head around the way that it works, building potions won't be, or building spells, sorry, won't be that difficult. But it's going to be either something that you enjoy or you don't, and you really need to do quite a bit of it in this game. So here we can see that, that's the non-English section. Here we go. So for an ingredient, we'll have a wheel like this. And there's going to be sort of black dots in that wheel. And if it's on the outer edge, then it's going to be positive. If it's on the inner edge, it's going to be negative. So let's say we find an ingredient that affects disease, and it had a black dot where my cursor is right now, although I don't think you can see my cursor. Maybe you can see it now. Don't think you can. Anyway, let's say that it's in the top right-hand band there. Well, that will mean that if you use that ingredient and you put it into the cutter, then it's going to be positive. But if it wasn't in that white band and it was in closer to the center, then cutting it would make it a negative. And then just to add a little bit more to it, we also have the symbols for the Bunsen burner and the condenser. So if the symbols are there on the outside ring, then turning on the Bunsen burner will increase the positive. And let's say the condenser here, the circles are on the inside near the center, then turning them on will increase the negative. So it's something you need to sort of keep in mind, and one ingredient might affect multiple things. So something that all ingredients have is a power rating. And if the power rating of your spell gets too high, it's going to blow up when you try and mix it, and it damages all your apparatus, and then you can't make another spell until the next month. So let's just go down and look at some of these here. So here we've got a list of all the different ingredients that are in the game. Sorry, let's keep clicking around. Here it is. So this chart here, you can see all the different ingredients there on the left. And then we have whether they've got a positive or negative effect on the table. And you can link that up with what you want to do. So you've got your directors there. So like dragon, egg, human, village. Those are your sort of 4 main directors. And then you've got your effectors. So combat, disease, growth, mind, power, sense, and speed. And we can see here that they've all got a power rating. So if we go and look at one for disease, so let's pick one that's interesting. It's got positive and negative. So Tierce, let's see if we can find that. So we can come here. Tierce is right there. It's the top leftmost circle, top rightmost circle. We scroll down, then we can check where the black dots are for various different things. So straight away we can see that it can be used as a dragon director, and it's got a positive and a slight negative on it. We can look down here. It can be used for human as well. There's dots all over it on this one, and there's a condenser and the Bunsen burner. What else have we got? And the dots, there's multiple dots because it's just showing you that there's multiple ways that it can be prepared. So if we were going to use TS as the director for using on a dragon, then we would need to, I believe this up here is mixing. So the different quarters correspond to either sort of normal, mixing, cutting, or grinding. Although I'm not really sure what it means when you've got one that's dead in the middle there. And then obviously the closer they are into the center, the more negative, and the closer they are to the outside, the more positive. And you're going to have a whole bunch of ingredients that do the same thing, but they might have a stronger positive or a stronger negative on them, which might make them more desirable, but then the ingredient's probably going to be rarer. And I know I'm probably not explaining this terribly well, but if you do get into the game and you read through this manual, it will click, and you'll realize that it's not as complicated as it looks. Although trying to put together different spells, some people are going to find it fun, and some people are going to find it tedious. But let's try and make a spell, and it gives you a couple of spells that you can spells that you can make straight away. So. An example spell, let's come down here. So, what does this spell do? It should tell us somewhere what the spell does. Here is a useful spell to increase the population of a village. Choose your village from the map section of the game. So let's try this. We might have those ingredients, so we'll get the game back up. All right, so let's go out to a village. We'll go here. I'm assuming we can cast a spell on a village that we're not in. Let's select this one here. Yeah, we can. So it says that we need 2 times TS, normal, and temperate. Now, I'm not sure what temperate means. Does that mean a low flame like that? Or no flame at all? I'm guessing that it just wouldn't mention the heat. So we've probably got temperate, heat. Maybe temperate is no heat at all. So let's see if we've got some TS anyway to start with. Here it is. We got 13. And it goes in normal. So let's put it there. And we'll put another one in. Because we wanted to. Okay, we'll put it back on the shelf. Now we need chur. And we need normal and heat. So we'll put the heat on. Do we have some back here? Here it is. We want 2 of these. It's bubbling away. And then we need 1 Arcrus. And we need to mix it, and it needs to be temperate. So, let's see. Here it is. And we only need 1. So we'll put it through the mixer. There we go. And then if we want to cast the spell, we just click the arrow here. And if we want to cancel what we've done, we hit this X, but we lose the materials that we've already used. Now, so can we see if what we did had any effect? There we go. The population's gone up to 557. So that is pretty much the spell making. Now, you don't really have to sort of experiment blindly with it, because you've got the spell manual and you can look up, you know, what ingredients you need to do something, but maybe you could play around with the quantities that you're using or something like that. But anyway, that is pretty much Dragon Lords or Dragon's Breath, depending on where you are. Interesting game. I think I'm going to play around with the spell making a bit more, and maybe I will get into it enough to do a playthrough. It does look quite good fun. Maybe I'll watch some other people's playthroughs on YouTube first, just to get a better understanding of a good way to play the game at the start. I'm just not sure what would be a good tactic at the start of the game, but I suppose, just play it and figure it out. Anyway, I hope that was of some interest to some people, and to anybody who's interested in playing the game, hopefully my video gave you enough information that you can pick it up and start messing around with it. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.